It's time for the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. It's time for The Game on ESPN 1400. For the next 2 hours, we'll get an in-depth look at local sports in the Eastern Upper Peninsula and Algoma region, and hear from the coaches and players involved in the game. We'll also analyze the college and pro sports scene across the region and dive into the biggest national stories. Now, let's get to the game and join your host, Scott Nason.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to The Game on ESPN 1400 and online at thegamesportshow.com. As the man said, my name is Scott Nason, broadcasting from our ESPN 1400 studios on M129 and 3 Mile Road on this Monday, February 24th, 2020. The Game, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, will be with you till 8 o'clock here on this beautiful Monday night, and we have our first guest already in studio. His name is Doug Laprade, head coach of the Soo Eagles Hockey Club, who are gearing up for the playoffs starting in about a week or so. Coach Laprade, Doug, thanks for coming in and joining us once again on The Game.
My pleasure, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Well, Doug, a good weekend for the Soo Eagles, actually going back to Wednesday. Let's talk about what transpired for your team on the ice over the last few days. The Eagles, of course, on Wednesday, a 5-1 victory over Espanola, a potential playoff opponent. We're still not 100% sure as far as the Eagles' playoff future, but just looking at that game, Doug, coming off a tough weekend, the weekend before with a couple losses, one to Espanola in a shootout. I really thought your guys came out with the right kind of attitude, and it showed with the 5-1 victory.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny, the weekend we had on the road was a tough weekend. You get 1 point out of 4. It's never something that you want to do. It's not considered success. But I mean, if we look back at the games and when I did the video, I mean, we lost to Rayside 6-3, but the shots were, I think 39-35 or 39-37 or in that ballpark. So, we had really, really good scoring chances. And I've said this on the radio before, whether it's your show or Randy's show, David Bowen is a phenomenal goalie.
He's tough.
He just makes some saves that you look at and go, wow. And, I was quoted as saying, I think he should be in the OHL earlier in the season, and then he got his chance in the Quebec Major Junior League, and I guess he just never really they never just put him in the net. So instead of staying there and sitting on the bench, he came back, and obviously that's something that we're unhappy about. But Rayside, I think maybe is undefeated. I mean, I have to.
I don't think they've lost in 2020,
but I think they're 14, 15, 16-0, something like that since he's been back. So he's obviously a difference maker, and he made the difference in that game. He's phenomenal. So. But as far as that weekend goes, the next day we kind of came out a little low against Espanola in their rink, and it's a tough arena to play in. I certainly don't want to say anything about officials and whatnot, but you seem to kind of get, how do I say this the best way?
Short end of the stick.
The short end of the stick a little bit there. And, we ended up, it was just one of those games where it was 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3. They went up 5-4, and we got a power play actually goal with about, I called the timeout with 4 minutes left. Because I wasn't sure how you never know how the whistles are going to go. Sure. And I didn't want to wait. And so I drew up a plan, and when we put the guys on the ice, I'd planned to pull our goalie somewhere under 2 minutes, and we ended up getting a power play. We put our power play on and scored a goal to tie it up. And so that was a really good thing. But we went into overtime. It was 3-3, or excuse me, it was 3-on-3, and nobody scored, so we went to shootout, and it was actually kind of a fun game. We went to, I think, either the 9th or 10th round of the shootout, and I was running out of players and that actually could shoot the puck.
The Zamboni driver like the Leafs had against the other day.
So, it was fun. It was fun to watch. We ended up losing the game and took 1 point instead of 2, but then we regrouped and we played them again. That was on Friday, and I think we played them at home Wednesday. We played very well, and then Elliott Lake, who's really, really much improved.
They sure are.
Their new coach has done a phenomenal job. They've got some new players that I don't know where they picked them up from. I mean, I know where but I don't know how they became available. They got some really good players, and they're a tough win right now. And so we ended up beating them at their barn 4-2. And then obviously we beat the Thunderbirds last Saturday at their barn again. So yeah, it's been nice. Three wins in a row, and the guys have kind of seemed to have bought in the last 2 weeks. And even though we only took 1 point on the road, I think really the last 5 games we've been pretty good.
Yeah, 6-3 win on Saturday over the Sioux Thunderbirds. Looking at that team, a team that you've played a lot this season, you're going to play them one more time this weekend, which we'll get to in a moment. Right now, the Eagles 4 points behind the Thunderbirds for third place in the West Division. You're going to need, at least we think, you're going to need 2 wins, 2 losses for the Thunderbirds in regulation. But potentially a likely first-round opponent in the Espanola Express, which would start a week from Wednesday if that series does, in fact, happen. But Doug, lots to play for this weekend, not just for the standings, but just lots of events going on at Puller Stadium. Why don't you give us an idea of a lot of things happening at the Puller this Friday and Saturday night?
Sure, yeah. Well, obviously the games are huge, and we're still waiting on clarification on on the tiebreaker. If we do win our last 2 and the Thunderbirds do lose their last 2, that would mean we were tied in standings, and then we would have actually one more win than them.
Right.
There's been a couple publications in the Sioux Ontario side that have said we are already in 4th. So I'm not sure, nor is Bruno Bragagnolo, our general manager, on what that clarification is. We're waiting for the league on that. The publications might know something we don't, I suppose. But so anyway, the games are huge, and not only for the points and the standings, but some of the things we're doing, the promotions we're doing during the games. Friday night 7:30 we play Elliott Lake, and then Saturday 7:00 we play the Sioux Thunderbirds. And all military personnel, past or present, they get in with for free with their ID. We're going to be wearing military jerseys. Those are going to be auctioned off on Saturday night, and it's also going to be elementary school night Saturday. So that's a pretty nice thing that we do, and Bruno has set up where it's a big deal for the kids. They get good grades, and they get to come out in between periods and get on the ice and get their picture taken, and we give them a certificate. It's a pretty neat thing. So it's a big weekend for a lot of different things, and not necessarily just hockey, but last 2 games of the weekend, there's nobody else playing. Lakers are out of town. Indians are done. High school, I think, is out of town.
Yep.
I think they play Wednesday, but if they lose, they're done. If they win, they're still out of town. So it's great for the town. The weather's starting to break, and it's always it's always a great time to get to the Puller when the weather's starting to break and watch some good hockey and maybe have a cocktail or a soda or whatever your preference is. It'd be great to have a great fan base.
Yeah, it'll be Elliott Lake on Friday night. We'll have the calls of both games on ESPN 1400. Friday night's game, pregame show 7:15, and Saturday the border battle round 10, I believe, against the Sioux Thunderbirds. 6:45 pregame show here on ESPN 1400. Doug Laprade joining us on the game, and Coach, heading into the playoffs, you're going to be in the playoffs, no matter if you play in that first round series or beyond. Tough to see as far as, the 5 teams in the West. I mean, really any team could beat any team. And where you're at right now with your team, obviously a good weekend, and injury wise, I think you're pretty healthy at this point. How do you feel about your team heading into the postseason come March?
Well, I'm really optimistic about where we are right now. I mean, we have one minor injury going right now. Other than that, we're pretty healthy. We've got some kids that we've brought up from the Sioux Michigan Indians for AP kids. They've helped us with our depth. And, we are, whether we play a first mini round or we wait till the first real round, that doesn't matter. I mean, we're going to play who we play. And you're right. I mean, trade deadlines in junior hockey, especially, or maybe in pro hockey too. Obviously college is different. They make teams, different. And, we talked about Elliott Lake a little bit. We play them Friday night. That's not a team that we can come and take lightly. We've had games with them in the past where we outshot them literally 70-10 in, one games. That's not the same team. They have a way different, philosophy, mindset, the coach. I met him once, seemed like a real nice guy, but I just judge him right now on how he's doing coaching. I mean, that's a completely different team, and they're not an easy out, by any means. So, excuse me, so we're going to have to play really well. And then the Thunderbirds, if it turns out that they lose Friday at Blind River and we win, that game is important.
A lot to play for.
We'll see how the league, comes back to us with the tiebreaker. But, at the end of the day, if, like I said earlier, if we win, they lose, if it comes to that, we'll have more wins. And then if it's a tiebreaker that way, and if it's head to head, we'll be 5-5. And then after that, I'm not sure how it goes. And like I said, we're waiting on clarification. It's possible it's already done. And, for some reason we don't know how that works, but, so yeah, I think we're playing really good at the moment. And at the end of the day, I don't really believe that it matters if you play the mini round or you don't. It's a couple extra games,
sure.
maybe 3.
Maybe it keeps you fresh.
It keeps you fresh. And, I think there's really something to be said about going into the playoffs playing at a high level. The teams that are already in or have already clinched first place or whatever, they just kind of let themselves go or down sometimes. And, last year we did that. We ended up not mattering. The last game of the year didn't matter. And we played Rayside, who we were going to play in the first round. And, I decided I was going to play the third goalie and some AP kids and not some AP kids, but some kids that never really got in the lineup. Mm-hmm. And we got our doors blown off. And I think that affected us for that series, and I learned a little lesson there, and we take every game seriously, no matter what it puts you in the standings. And so I think in the position we're in now, that's a really good thing for us.
And that's one of the things, Doug, this is just your second year coaching at this level in the NLJHL and junior hockey. How has your coaching philosophy and just things have changed now that you have a year under your belt and you've seen things like you just mentioned? Have you come into this season, at least at this point, in a little bit of a different mindset compared to last season?
Yeah, I mean, you learn as you go. It doesn't matter what level you're at, whether it's Soo High or Lake State or the Soo Eagles. You learn as you go as to what things happen. I can tell you right now, we are 1 point ahead of where we were last year at the beginning of the year, or at the end of the year, excuse me. We won 28 games last year at the very end of the year, and we've won 28 games so far this year. So do I think my team's better? I think my team's much deeper this year. Philosophically, have I made any change? Not really. I mean, we want to make sure that there are, guys going at all levels, right? Sure. And at all tiers, so to speak. I would say the big difference this year between last year is last year we didn't have the ability to have AP players, and we were really banged up. So when we went into playoffs, we were missing 2 or 3, 4 of our best players.
Yeah. You didn't have many healthy scratches either.
And, so we were short. Right. This year, pretty much everybody's healthy and we have AP players. So it's a huge advantage for us. And then the fact that we're playing the way I want us to play right now is something that I'm really excited about. So again, if we play Espanola or we in the first round, or if we wait and we play Blind River it doesn't matter. I think we're playing at a high level. That's the way you got to be playing right now. And your opponent is whoever it is.
One of the players you acquired at the trade deadline, Coach Eric Vanderhoff, now with 26 goals. He scored many of those with Elliott Lake, but I think he's been a nice addition on the offensive end, pairing him up on different lines. He really a key acquisition, in my opinion, for your team.
Yeah, Eric's been great. It's funny. It's an interesting story. We actually wanted Eric at the beginning of the year, and he ended up going to Cochrane instead, and ended up getting traded from there to Elliott Lake. And for a team back in that time of the season that didn't have a lot of structure and didn't have a lot of anything really systems, for him to do the way score and play the way he did was good. It was impressive, and we thought we needed a little bit of a scoring touch going down the stretch, and he became available. So we got a call from his player advisor one day, and we just said, yeah, we'd love to have him. So we made a trade, and I think he's got 8, 9, 10 goals since he's been with us. And he's a kid. Other than Dominic Scarella, he's a kid that when he's around the net, he can score. And that's important for us, and we really don't have a lot of that. And we've made an addition with Chase Telaire from the Sioux Indians as an AP player, and he's the third kid who has a little touch around the net now that we can count on. So that's what we needed. We're more of a systems team, and but because we had to be, we just didn't have a lot of guys who could make that play and bury that puck when it was available. And so to have those three kids amongst, a couple other kids that are Joel Brandinger is playing great. Caleb Wood has got 20 goals. I mean, I can go on a few times with some other players, but that's something you need when you go down the stretch.
Head coach Doug Laprade joining us on the game. The Sioux Eagles in action this weekend at Puller Stadium. Friday night against Elliott Lake, 7:30. Saturday night against the Sioux Thunderbirds at 7. Once again, all military personnel, past or present, will get in free all weekend long with an ID. The Eagles will also be wearing military jerseys auctioned off by the Saturday night's game as well. It's elementary school night on Saturday. Always fun to see the youngsters achieving in the classroom. And, final question, Doug, what the Eagles have done very well, in my opinion, you, Bruno, owner Ron Lavin, and really all the volunteers is try to connect with the community. And I really think this elementary school night is one of those ways, because not only do the kids get to come on the ice, they get the certificates, they get the pictures, the mom and dad hear their name, but you get more people in the stands and be like, you know what? This is kind of cool. This is fun to watch Sioux Eagles hockey. So I think it's a win-win all around.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful thing. It's Bruno's done a great job with getting our guys inside the community and helping and volunteering. And, the school thing is I mean, what could be a better possible thing to honor than kids that are working hard in school? I mean, there's nothing better, than that, because at the end of the day, whether you want to think you're going to play hockey one day or baseball one day or football, doesn't matter. Your schooling is where you're going to go in your future. And I tell kids all the time, you got to, it's student athlete, to play college hockey one day, you got to get into college. And that's truth. I don't care what anybody says about, if you're an athlete, you'll get in no matter what. It doesn't work that way in the real world. So, those kids, to get that, and it's a great thing for us to honor them in front of their family and friends. And, sometimes, 1,300 people, it's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat thing.
Doug Laprade joining us on the game. Coach, best of luck this weekend and hopefully into a very extended playoff run. And we'll be there every step of the way here on ESPN 1400. Thanks for coming in tonight.
Thanks, Scott.
All right, we're going to take a break and be back and talk Sioux High swimming with their head coach, Steve Habusta, and one of their athletes coming up next on the game here on ESPN 1400.
I wonder just how many times Merle's Towing has made their way out in the middle of nowhere late at night in below zero weather and given a grateful motorist a jump. Or met a driver in town who spaced out and locked their keys in the car. Or who took a curve just a little too fast for conditions and ended up in the ditch. The Merle's crew's been doing it for 45 years, so they've helped out their neighbors, I'd say thousands and thousands of times. Good to know there's somebody you can always count on, isn't it? Merle's Towing, Sioux, Michigan.
In today's fast-paced world, convenience is key. Central Savings Bank knows this and keeps you up to date with all the latest banking technology. Pay securely and conveniently with mobile wallet. Manage all your banking needs with internet banking. Central Savings Bank has been in business since 1902, and there's a reason why. No hassle checking and savings accounts. Apply easily for a home loan or home equity loan. See for yourself why CSB is Chippewa County's leading mortgage processor. Not a fan of waiting? No problem. Central Savings Bank offers instant issue debit cards. Switch today and experience old-fashioned customer service along with the latest banking trends. CSB's experts can also help you with a savings plan and retirement investing. With IRAs and CDs, they'll assist you in making the best choice for you. Get started by visiting one of their 9 locations today. Bank with the best. Bank with Central Savings Bank.
Central Savings Bank. Ask what we can do for you.
Are you looking to keep your body fit? Maybe looking to just stay in shape? The All-in-One Fitness Club can help you with all your fitness needs. Their amazing facility is fully equipped with the best equipment. They also offer spinning and yoga classes from the best instructors. Spinning classes are Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. Single class passes and discounted punch cards are available. And yoga classes are offered Wednesday at 5:30 for free. Please call or stop in to reserve your spot for both classes. Come join the All-in-One Fitness Club upstairs at the Big Bear Arena, where you achieve all your fitness goals. Your New Year's resolution of upgrading your ride just came true. Soo Motors, some 3 Mile, has slashed prices on remaining 2019s in stock. They're now priced at dealer cost, plus qualifying rebates. Your choice of Ford Escape, Edge, Expedition, Ranger, and the award-winning F-150. Here's one resolution you can keep: an affordable new ride from Soo Motors. Talk with Miranda, Ken, Robert, Dave, or Don on today at Soo Motors, some 3 Mile.
Let's get back to the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Let's get back to the game on ESPN 1400.
6:19 on the game, ESPN at 1400. Scott Nason with you. Want to thank Doug Laprade, head coach of the Sioux Eagles, for joining us in the first segment. We'll be joined by Butch Davis coming up here around 6:40 from the Metro Detroit Sports World. And we have our next 2 guests in studio as we speak, as we are talking Sioux High swimming and diving with their head coach, Steve Habusta, and one of their athletes, junior Morgan Burd. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in and joining us on the game.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Well, it's good to have you guys. Steve, we were talking off air that, boy, the season just kind of went by, and all of a sudden it's the UP Championships, which happened a week ago Saturday. And first of all, it was a pretty big weekend for your squad, finishing runner-up in both the boys and girls meets at the UP Finals in Marquette last weekend. But you had a lot of records and a lot of UP awards and a lot of great individual efforts. First of all, just tell us how the UP Finals went for you.
Sure. It was definitely probably one of the best weekends in the history of Sioux High swimming. Our girls with our fastest finish ever, scoring 300 points. We've never scored above 250, 260 before UP Finals. So definitely a bright side there. We won 13 out of the 24 events. So when you win over half the events, that's a big deal.
Sure is.
We don't quite have the depth that Marquette has. We don't quite have the school size that Marquette has. But to be able to go out there and do what we did at the top end, I think that's a pretty special day for us.
And Steve, this is your 5th season coaching? I don't even.
Yeah, so this is this time around it's my 4th season coaching and my 8th or 9th total. So
and you know, this is one program sometimes that doesn't get the recognition it deserves as far as the accomplishments that you do. And who are some of the coaches that helped you out this year? I believe one of the Arbics coaching. Just tell us about some of the people that helped you.
So we had a great group this year helping out Claire Arbic, who is a teacher at Sioux High and has a daughter who swims for us. Just has been helping out for the past couple of years now. He's a former Division III swimmer at Algoma, so he definitely knows his stuff. And so to have him there and have his experience and have him knowing what it takes to get to the next level is good for the kids to see. And then we had Allison Innerebner, whose son Andrew and daughter Julie swims for me on the high school team, and she was a Division II diver at Northern. So to have her working with our divers is something special, and she does a great job with them.
Yeah, and I heard you on Dave Watson's show, Coach's Corner, this weekend with, I believe, a diver and one of the swimmers as well, both having good success at the UP Finals there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we brought one of the Arbic kids, and Joe did a fantastic job, and then we brought Brianna Jones, who as a freshman won UP Finals as a diver, so had an incredible weekend there as well.
Well, we have a swimmer here with us, as we mentioned, junior Morgan Burd joining us on the game. First of all, Morgan, thanks for coming in. I got to ask you an off-topic question. You're wearing a Tiger hat. I'm impressed. Are you a Tiger fan, or is it just a hat?
Ride or die.
Well, it's been a lot of dying lately, with the Tigers. But are you excited for this season? I mean, they got a lot of young talent coming up. It might take a couple years.
Rebuilding?
Rebuilding?
They'll get back. All
right. Well, I like to hear that indeed. Well, let's talk swim. We didn't get you here to talk the Tigers, but I do appreciate it. Morgan, this year, junior year, how many years have you been swimming as far as, the start of your swimming career? Was it, a little toddler in the pool, or did you start later on?
I started about 8 or 9 when I was 8 or 9 years old.
Okay, and you participated in several events at the UP Finals, including the 100-meter backstroke. And just give us an idea of some of the events that you participated in and how you did.
Oh, yes, sir. I participated in the 100 back, and I went a 55.5 in that. And the 200 IM was about a 204.
Correct, yeah.
204. And I won both of those, and with the relays, which are very fun, very intense, very close with Marquette as well.
And
what both of those as well.
Excuse me, Morgan, what I like is, and I didn't realize this until I just read this, with your first place in the 100 backstroke with a time of 55.33, you broke the team record held by a guy I know and I went to school with, Dan Batchelor.
Oh, yeah.
Back in 1995. Let me tell you, that makes me very happy that you broke that. Dan, of course, a very good swimmer back in the day. Steve, I think you remember him back then.
Definitely.
Yeah, so, 100 backstroke. I mean, at what point did you make the choice that, you know what, the backstroke's my stroke? You know, is it something early on, or is it something that you develop later on?
It actually kind of changed the past 2 years. I used to be a freestyle and a flyer, but just something clicked one year. I just swam it and I did really good in it. And from then on, that's been my race.
And Morgan's really one of those kids where I can throw him wherever and he's going to excel and do great. You know, and even looking at UP finals, just trying to figure out what we could do for points for the team. And so he stepped up big time in those two events individually and did a great job for us.
Yeah. And Morgan, you also participated, as you mentioned, in some of the relay races. And I guess the next question I have for you is, individual versus relay. Do you like one more than the other, or is it all kind of encompassing getting that team aspect that, you know, Soo High does very well in swimming and diving?
Individual races, they do have their glamour, but there's nothing better than just winning with your team next to you. It's just such an amazing feeling, honestly.
And this is a new thing for Morgan. The past couple of years, he's a junior, but the past couple of years, he swam club across the border. So to bring him on and get that team feel for high school, I think was something special for him this year, and really did a great job.
And you look at, Steve, you know, building this program. Obviously, Sault Ste. Marie doesn't have a whole lot of facilities as far as pool. Thankfully, there's still a pool at the North Center, and you mentioned Soo, Ontario, but obviously the swimming is a little tough outside during it. I mean, how do you get so many of these swimmers? It starts at a very young age, and it starts with, I believe, youth programs that also help.
Sure, and the Soo Competitive Aquatic Program and Dyke Justin have done a fantastic job really building up that program. You know, and we've had a great group of girls that have come through the past few years, got a great group of boys coming through the next few years. So they've done a great job with that program. And then across the border, the Soo Surge has done an awesome job, and we've had some of our kids go over there and swim club with them, and they've done a great job over there as well.
And Morgan, you know, being a junior, obviously you're going to be one of the leaders coming back for next year's swimming team. I mean, you look at one of your seniors this year, Andrew Rebner, going to swim Division I, I believe, in Wisconsin. Correct, Steve?
Correct. He'll be at UW Wisconsin, or Milwaukee, and has just done a fantastic job for our program for the past 4 years, and really has led in multiple ways. And we're really proud of who he's become and what he's done. And it's neat to see another Division I kid come out of our program.
Absolutely. Soo High doesn't get a lot of Division I kids in any sport.
No.
So for that to happen is quite a success and testament to him and the swimming program. Morgan, I guess the question I have for you is, swimming in your future down the road, is it something you've thought about, something you're seeking?
Definitely. A few colleges have reached out to me. I'm still keeping my options open, though, hoping to drop a lot of time between now and college.
So, Steve, off season, obviously now with the UP finals done, and you won't get back into the pool competitively, at least from the Soo High perspective, until late next fall. What are some of the things that you do or can do with these swimmers and divers during the off season? How much work do you have with them?
Yeah, so this is where I think those club programs come in big time. You know, Morgan, for instance, just got back over from across the border, swimming practice over there after school. And so, you know, we really rely on those programs, scat runs throughout the summer. And so Dyke Justin's working with those kids all summer long. So we really just rely on them and just maintaining a close relationship with those programs and just understanding where the kids are at and what they're doing and kind of keeping an eye on that throughout the summer.
Steve Habusta joining us on the game, head coach of the Soo High Blue Devil diving and swim teams. One of their athletes, Morgan Burd, joining us as well. And Morgan, what are some of the things that you do during the off season as far as, you know, to keep your swimming? You mentioned going over to Soo Canada. Is there anything else that you do as far as maybe a non-swimming workout? I mean, obviously it takes a lot to swim, and you know, these athletes are as good a shape as anybody else. What are some of the things that you do in the off season?
Most days, 4 or 5 days a week, I'm weightlifting at the college, and then once track season comes around, I'm running every day.
And Steve, you know, anybody listening maybe that has a youngster that hasn't started, can you start really in this sport at a late age? Do you have to be in the pool since age 5, or do you have some that maybe started middle school or even high school that maybe are interested in joining the swimming and diving team?
Yeah, definitely. We'll take kids who, and we do, especially a lot of multi-sport athletes. Morgan plays football and track, you know, so we believe in that big time. And even though he specializes and does year-round sports, he's still taking the opportunity to play those high school sports. But, you know, swimming is really a sport that kids can pick it up at any age. I remember Ed Moses, who was an Olympic swimmer when he was a freshman in high school, was the first year he ever swam. 4 years later, he was swimming in the Olympics. So I think it's definitely a sport that you can pick up and you can do even later on. And we love getting, especially boys, getting the boys who may not make the basketball team, may decide the basketball's not their thing. We love getting them in the water.
Well, gentlemen, good to have you on our show, and we're going to get you on more next year as the season develops. Again, that was head coach Steve Habusta and one of the athletes, Morgan Burd, Jr. From the Soo High swimming and diving team. Coach, any other final thoughts or words before we wrap it up for the season?
Just thank you to you, Scott, for getting us on and just getting the word out about Soo High swimming and what our program's able to accomplish. We appreciate it very much.
And Morgan, junior year, heading into your senior year, a big year for you, obviously, not just with swimming, but in general. You're ready to be done with the 11th grade and get on to what is probably one of your best years in school as a senior.
It's kind of scary, but I'm ready for it.
We appreciate it. I think so, and I appreciate you guys both coming on and talking Soo High swimming, and we'll get you on here later on this year on The Game. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll be back with more local sports here on The Game, ESPN 1400.
Bought a new car last year, totaled it this year, and when your insurance company replaced it, they neglected to replace all of it. Your replacement didn't include a back seat, or bumpers, or a steering wheel. Kind of what it feels like when you make an auto insurance claim and your claim check is for a lot less than what you paid for your car. Dean Garlinghouse and Farm Bureau don't think that's exactly fair, so they've introduced a replacement coverage option. Buy a new car and total it in the first 3 years. You get a new vehicle, no depreciation. Auto insurance replacement coverage with competitive rates on homeowners and farm owners insurance from Michigan's insurance company, insuring Michigan autos, homes, farms, and businesses. Talk with Dean and the folks at Farm Bureau Insurance today at the corner of 8th and Ashman in the Soo, or give Dean a call at 635-7250. Dean Garlinghouse at Farm Bureau Insurance.
Hurry into Das Gift House and see their huge variety of gifts. Pick up a free Shopper's Reward card and search Das for special gifts priced right. You'll find LSSU apparel, Minnetonka slippers and moccasins at 25% off, pet lover gifts, willow tree figurines, silver forest earrings, and up north jewelry. Whether you're shopping for birthday, anniversary, retirement, baby, memorial, or just because gifts, you're sure to find it at Das Gift House. Best of all, Das Gift House winter clearance sales in progress. Take 25% to 50% off select gifts throughout the store. And it's back. Fudge Deluxe Fudge. Das Gift House in the Soo at the corner of West Portage Avenue and Osborne Boulevard, across from the Soo Locks. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to at least 6:31 p.m. That's right, Saturday too, from 9:30 to 6:31 p.m. Sunday, 9:30 to 5:31 p.m. Always beautiful free gift wrapping. Shop Das Gift House. Gitchie Auto Home and RV Sales on Shunk Road in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan has something for everyone. Whether it's a car, truck, SUV, or utility trailer, Gitchie Auto Home and RV Sales has it. If it's not on the lot, they can find it for you. Looking for financing? No problem. At Gitchie Auto Home and RV Sales, they can finance almost anyone. See them today on Shunk Road or call 906-203-4491 and online at GitchieAuto.com.
You can catch podcasts of The Game at thegamesportshow.com. Now let's get back to it with Scott Nason here on ESPN 1400.
Well, welcome back to The Game on ESPN 1400 and online at thegamesportshow.com. As we thank all our guests so far tonight, Doug Laprade, Steve Habusta, and Morgan Burd, all joining us. Coming up here in about 10 minutes, we'll be talking to Butch Davis from Butch on Sports, who will get us up to date on the Metro Detroit sports world. We'll also be talking national sports in hour 2 with EJ Russell from Escanaba, Michigan, and Butch from Metro Detroit. We have a lot of local sports to cover here over the next little bit. We'll get to the rest of them at the top of the second hour. We have high school basketball from this past week, as we had some games on Friday night. Soo High was home, or rather on the road, at Sheboygan, and they won by the score of 48-44 to improve to 7-10 on the season. The Blue Devils are home to Petoskey on Tuesday and Brimley on Thursday. Both games you can hear on our sister station, 1230 WSOO, with Dave Watson on the call. And we'll also have their head coach, Mike Fitzner, joining us on Coach's Corner Saturday morning. I'll be filling in for Dave Watson, who will be making the trek down to Alpena for Soo High Hockey. We'll have Coach Mike Fitzner on the Coach's Corner on Saturday. Other games on Friday night, Brimley and Engadine. A good one in Engadine. It was Engadine defeating Brimley by the score of 82-77 as the Eagles 8-8 on the season. Brimley falls to 7-8, and Engadine home tonight to Pickford, a very key EUP conference game. The Panthers just with one loss on the season in conference. Engadine will be home to Cedarville on Friday, while Brimley, as I mentioned, 7-8 on the season. They're home to Cedarville on Tuesday, Soo High on Thursday, and Detour on Friday. We mentioned Pickford in a game you heard over on Oldies 93 in our EUP Game of the Week. It was a tough one for the Panthers. Nick Eddington with a big game, 28 points, as the Panthers survive a scare from Cedarville as they defeat the Trojans by the score of 50-46. And the Panthers will be at Engadine tonight, as I mentioned, and then a big Friday night game at the Purple Palace in Pickford against the Rudyard Bulldogs. You can hear that game on our sister station, Oldies 93, with Matt Pocket. Rudyard, they're alive for both Straits Area Conference and EUP Conference consideration. They improved to 14-4 on the season on Friday as they knocked off St. Ignace by the score of 63-28. And so the Bulldogs, they're going to be at Sheboygan on Wednesday. A win there, and they could win the Straits Area Conference. And they also could win a share or possibly outright title in the EUP Conference as they will be at Pickford on Friday. So potentially a pretty interesting week for Coach Jimmy Suggett and his Rudyard Bulldogs. Well, the high school boys district draws were set over this past weekend. We talked about the girls last week. We'll go over those draws here in the second hour. Well, let's start with the Soo High Blue Devils, 7-10 on the season. They're in Division 2, and they're going to receive a bye into the district semifinal in Grayling, where they will play the winner of Kingsley and Sheboygan. Now, that game will be on Wednesday, March 11th at 5:30. Dave Watson will have the call of that one over on 1230 WSOO. The other side of that bracket sees Grayling 2-15, hosting a district semifinal that same day, March 11th, against the winner of Boyne City and Kalkaska. The district final will be on Friday, March 13th at 7 p.m., with the winner advancing to the Division II Regional in Gaylord. For the boys in Division 4, there's a couple of sites in the EUP, including District 102 in Cedarville and District 101 in Newberry. Mackinac City and Detour, they're going to meet in an opening round game on Monday, March 9th at 6 o'clock. That one in Cedarville, with the winner taking on the host Trojans on Wednesday, March 11th at 5:45. In the district semifinal, the other district semifinal sees Pickford taking on Mackinac Island. The district final will be on Friday, March 13th at 7 p.m., with the winner of that one advancing to the D4 Regional in St. Ignace. And you can catch all those games, at least most of them, over on our sister station, Oldies 93, with Matt Pock. And we're going to get more into the districts and how the MHSAA did the seedings. We talked a little bit about it last weekend when we interviewed Soo High basketball girls head coach Pat Bennon. MHSAA this year went into separating the top two seeds in each district, which I think is a very good idea. You just avoid them meeting in the first round. But what they did was they didn't seed the entire bracket. They came up with a new points system that took into account wins and who you played and what and such. So you could have easily ranked these teams. So what you ended up with is, well, the first and second seeded teams in each district not playing each other in the first round, but many of those teams, if not all of them, playing in the first round. So, for example, in the district that's going on in Newberry, Brimley and Engadine in boys basketball, they're playing the first round game. Engadine, I believe, was the number one seed in that one. The winner of that one will take on Ojibwe Charter. Ojibwe Charter gets the bye. You look at the girls district, which is starting next weekend down in Detour. Matt Pocket will be covering these games. You have St. Ignace in an opening round game with Mackinac Island getting the bye. Not quite sure what the MHSAA was thinking there. Obviously, they're going to have some things to think about and try to figure out. But right now, there's quite a bit of uproar, if you will, on their system. And what they also did was not just seeding the 1 and 2 teams, but then the opponents were decided alphabetically. Now, that I don't get. To the MHSAA's credit, they have put this information out all season long. But I guess until we saw the brackets come out and wonder why teams like Soo High girls were playing in the opening round when you have a team with, 4 wins getting the bye, I think the easy for me to say, the MHSAA might want to revisit that. Girls basketball from this past week, quite a few games postponed earlier in the week because of bad weather. Rudyard did get a game in on Tuesday at home against Detour, with Rudyard winning by the score of 45-24. Soo High girls continue to play well. They played well all season long, and they did last week, winning at home against Sheboygan by the score of 55-14. Other games on Thursday: Engadine over Brimley, 58-37. St. Ignace all over Rudyard on Thursday by the score of 69-25. Cedarville at Pickford upset. Cedarville knocks off the Panthers 66-59. And also had Detour at home, a 4-point victory over Newberry by the score of 40-36. And we'll look at the girls district draw coming up at the top of the next hour. We got to take a break here on the game. Our next guest is waiting in the wings. His name is Butch Davis, who will be joining us coming up here in about 2 minutes on the game. You are listening to the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. You're listening to The Game on ESPN 1400.
Hi, this is Scott from Parker Ace Hardware. At Ace, we make painting a simple pleasure. Ask one of our friendly, knowledgeable Ace associates about our Ace Royal Paint, a high-quality paint at a price you'll love. You'll find Ace Royal Paint starting at an everyday low price of just $19.99 a gallon. It's another reason why, from a simple start to a fabulous finish, Parker Ace can help make your next painting project perfect. Parker Ace, the helpful place. Stop by Parker Ace Hardware. We're looking forward to serving you real soon.
Stop by Parker Ace Hardware at 819 Ashman, downtown Sioux, Michigan.
Hi, this is Andrew Miller, manager of Arfstrom Medical Equipment and Supplies. Accidents like a fall on the ice can happen at any time. Arfstrom Medical Equipment and Supplies has the items you need to help you through the healing process. We offer crutches, bracing, wheelchairs, walkers, hospital beds, and bath aids. Helping our customers, from children to senior citizens, remain independent is our goal.
Quality patient care has been the foundation of Arfstrom Medical Equipment and Supplies. Being locally owned and operated ensures that they strive towards the best for our community.
Our trained and certified staff has many years of experience and is ready to meet your individual needs. Give us a call or stop in to see how we can help you. And don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook and check out our new website at arfstrompharmacy.com.
Arfstrom Medical Equipment and Supplies is part of Arfstrom Pharmacy, a locally owned Health Mart pharmacy, ACHC accredited, located on the corner of Ashman and Spruce, downtown Sioux, Michigan.
Come down to Arfstrom Pharmacy and Arfstrom Medical Equipment and Supplies for your prescription medications and medical equipment needs. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
Now's the time of the year to get more for your money on a new Mahindra, the world's #1 selling farm tractor. Enjoy 0% financing on select Mahindra tractors. That's more for less on Mahindra's best-selling models. We deliver more lift, better fuel efficiency, and more built-in weight. Paul Thompson here with Gaylor Thompson Sales. Come on in and test drive a new Mahindra today. And remember, we also carry a full line of Boss plows, Cub Cadet, Woods implements, Exmark mowers, Echo Power equipment, and Doolittle trailers. Give us a call today at 906-478-3026. And remember, I-75, exit 373 in Rudyard for the best service in the EUP.
Let's get back to the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Let's get back to the game on ESPN 1400.
6:43 on the game, ESPN 1400. Scott Nason with you from beautiful Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan on this sunny, cool, late February day. And joining us right now via the telephone, Our next guest, co-host, and all-around great guy. His name is Butch Davis, who joins us each and every week on the game to talk about what's going on in the Metro Detroit sports world, along with sports around Michigan and around the country, even around the world. You can catch his show, Butch on Sports, on his broadcast page. That's simply Butch2, TOO.podomatic.com. You can also find him on our podcast page, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or the brand new revamped website, thegamesportshow.com. Butch, beautiful weather here. We got some sunshine. How are things in your neck of the woods, and how you doing tonight, my friend?
It's going to pop in about, I guess, another 20, maybe give it 2 hours, it'll start raining here.
Well,
and then turn into snow.
Oh, geez, we definitely don't want that. We're expecting some snow up here, Butch. And, well, the Detroit Red Wings were very busy today, Butch, as they made a pair of deals with the Edmonton Oilers. The GM combination of Steve Yzerman and Ken Holland, obviously having some connection in the past, and the Red Wings acquiring some draft picks but losing some players. Give our fans updates on some of the Wings' moves today.
Not only that, it was last night there. It started when Mike Green and also Andreas Sesson were healthy scratches, and that what got all the crowd and myself very curious there. As last night I was down there, and it was just total madness to around by 11:30. That's when we got the word about Mike Green there, and they didn't release that till at least after 12 o'clock to the general public. But we knew when we were walking out Little Caesars Arena that Mike Green was dealt, and we also knew that from some reporters there who had some knowledge of it, not only that Edmonton was balling for Andrew Sesson. Also, Columbus was also looking for that as well. That's where I think there was a delay, and basically why he was not dealt maybe the same time as he was there. And all in all, the Red Wings are now getting ready and getting sloppy ready for a draft there. As we know, they're out the playoffs in 63 games right now. Yesterday didn't make it any better. Let's give credit to credit due. The goaltending was pretty doggone well. They need some pieces. They need some serious pieces. They need some pieces on defense. They need also some forwards that play defense there. Steve Yzerman made it very official this afternoon at a press conference that there's a lot of pieces that the Red Wings need that they're not in practice of doing whatever. It's not hockey when you don't play defense, and Red Wings are very poor at that. His job this year is to buff up the defense 110%. He feels he has the goaltenders that he needs. He needs some defensive forwards and defensive defensemen playing in the raft. That will make it very doggone easy for maybe the Red Wings to be somewhat competitive in the league there.
Yeah, there were lots of other deals made at the trade deadline. We'll get to some of those in hour 2 of the game. The Red Wings' next action will be tomorrow night at home, taking on New Jersey. You can catch that game in progress after Soo High basketball over on 1230 WSOO. And the Detroit Pistons, Butch, also very active off the court as far as players leaving. On the court, they are now losers of 6 straight as they lost at Portland, your old stomping grounds, by the score of 107-104. And again, kind of following suit with the Red Wings, Butch, a team that seems to be getting rid of players to try to stock up for...
They did exactly what I said some 8 months ago. Buff up the defense in the bench. That's what they did. That's who's staying. The rest are gone. Yeah. The only one that's left is Derrick Rose, and don't be surprised if he don't get a welcoming goodbye and a waiver slip thrown at him there, okay? That's right now what's going on. And let me see, I might say there that the Pistons last night did pretty doggone well, okay, with that bench that they had. These are bench warmers that basically they came in to the lineup or on the roster this 8 months ago, and they're looking pretty doggone good there. They gave a lot more excitement, a lot more energy. They're lacking some experience right now, and that's what's going to have to be talked to these young men that they have at present there. There's no sense of dealing with burnt toast, okay? You got to scrape the burnt toast. You got to get the black off the burnt toast there before you put the butter or the honey on there. And right now, the toast was burnt to a crisp there. When you had Andre Drummond, who come in there and play when he wants to play, Marquise Morrison, he was a solid person, but again, injuries kept him away, as well as Reggie Jackson. He was a no-show, a no-doer, whatever a pimp. That's what I call him there. A pimp of the money there, because from an $80,000 contract that he signed when he first came to the Pistons, he pimped them all the way to the bank there. I tell you, they're gone now. All that is going away there. Like I said, the one piece that I expect going to be gone, maybe if the veterans want him, will be Rose, and he will have to leave via waivers there.
Butch, college basketball starting to get to the end of the conference season and into March Madness. Michigan State and Michigan both back in the AP poll. The Big Ten continues to be the best conference in college basketball. Could get anywhere from 9 to 10 teams in the tournament. Looking at Michigan and Michigan State, Butch, Michigan seems to be the team that's on the up, and Michigan State a little better week, but they're still kind of struggling to find themselves. What are you looking at those two teams here heading into the Big Ten tournament and possibly beyond?
That's a doggone thing here, because everybody goes on that brouhaha of the Big Ten being the best doggone conference right now. The best conference right now is the Pac-10 or the Pac-12. That is the best conference right now in the country at this present. If you look at that lineup from USC, UCLA, who right now is banging the bottom, okay? Oregon, Washington, and some of the other teams in that, Colorado, okay? That is a conference that no one's talking about. Okay, but again, some good things going to come out of that there. And you go to the Big West Conference where you got Gonzaga and you got Utah, you got BYU out there. There's no one's talking about that here. So I don't want to put down the Big Ten. I don't want to put down the University of Michigan. I surely don't want to put down Michigan State. But again, there's some active teams out there right now that no one's talking about at all, okay? When March 14th come around there, everybody's going to have something to say when they get defeated there. So I like Michigan right now with his little streak right now. They have to win practically every game to get in the doggone tournament. Michigan State, I don't think they have a problem. They'll be there as long as they be legit and dealing with the season per se. Michigan's going to have to show some oats in the Big Ten playoffs, whatever they want to call it. If they do so, I'm quite sure Michigan will be in there. I don't believe that 11 or 10 teams can get in that, whatever it may be. I believe that's just a bunch of BS, and it's going to be something that everybody gets tongue-tied on, and when the stuff hits the fan, by golly, they may not see no more than maybe 5 teams in there from the Big Ten.
Butch Davis joining us on the game. Butch, we talked about the high school district draws and the seeding, which has gotten quite a bit of attention, at least locally here, as far as what the MHSAA has done to separate the top-seeded teams in each district. Are you gearing up for March Madness your way? It starts here in a week with the girls.
No. No.
Next question.
I deal with it because, again, it's part of our culture here to deal with basketball the way to the purist there. The girls will start first next week. They're right up, and you did speak of the new sessions of how the playoffs are going to be dealt with. You're not going to be able to duck the top teams anymore. Okay?
Nope.
You're going to deal with the top teams at the divisional rate here. And if you do that and do it well, then you will be in Lansing, East Lansing, should say, playing the big boys there. Now, I don't know where the girls are playing at this year. I forgot to look that on up there. I won't have that information on my Wednesday show, but Scott, if you got it, you might want to tell the people where they're going to be playing at this year, other than East Lansing there. But again, I'm previously waiting for the girls, and the week after that, the boys.
Butch, Detroit Tigers in spring training action, playing on everybody's favorite team now, the Houston Astros today, losing 11-1. I tried to watch about 5 minutes this weekend of the Tigers. I couldn't. What have you seen anything as far as things that you're watching with the Detroit Tigers so far?
Yeah, one of the Kerry buddies, Kerry sons and whatnot, is doing very well. So I saw Sunday here on Fox that they picked up the Atlanta feed when they played the Atlanta-Detroit game. Also, I did not see any of the Pittsburgh-Detroit game there, but again, yesterday were double winners there when they played a split squad, okay, against Pittsburgh and again Atlanta. But, I don't pay too much really big attention to what's going on right now, because they're not going to play the actual players that need to play right now in order to have themselves together. I just would hope this season they would be a little bit more, how should I put it, a little bit more together when it comes down to being legit, when it comes down to giving the fans a decent team instead of giving them a bunch of garbage. And in later years, and years before, the Tigers got off the schedule pretty well, only to look like garbage at the end of the month here. So, and stayed in the garbage can throughout the rest of the season. So hopefully that's not the case, at least this year.
Butch, clarification for the girls' finals. They are back at the Breslin Center this year on March 19th and 21st. The boys will be the week later. So the girls getting the spotlight that they deserve back in the Breslin Center this year.
Yeah, and pretty soon that will hit the fan, because I do believe a lot of, and, I've heard a lot of coaches there right now, at least in Southeast Michigan, saying, right, what's wrong with Little Caesars Arena?
Yeah.
What's wrong with it here, okay? Because that's where the highlights should be dealt with when it comes down to the kids now. Not always the Breslin. They need to start, make it even or fair for the traveling is concerned. Now, normally at the Breslin Center, you got everything centrally located for everybody in the state there. When you have it in Southeast Michigan, and for instance, Little Caesars Arena, or once upon a time, the Palace of Auburn Hills, you have to do a little traveling, at least those teams in the north. So I don't know how they're going to entertain that later on in life there, or later on in years upcoming. It's going to come, but how long it's going to take for that to come, I got to look at the contract negotiation with East Lansing and maybe find out when it's going to be an opening for that.
Butch, we've got about 3 more minutes in this segment. Lots of football news over the past week. Of course, you had the XFL playing this weekend. You have the playoff expansion going on. The players still have to vote on their collective bargaining agreement. You have the combine starting pretty soon. Mel Kiper's mock draft had Tua Tagovailoa going to the Detroit Lions. Give us a football update from your perspective.
I don't think they really know what the Lions are going to get.
No.
We don't know.
No.
We don't know here. I'm saying right now, the Lions are going to get a quarterback. They have to get a quarterback unless they can get a good trade in that gives them the flexibility to get 2 draft choices in the first round, and I don't see that happening there. XFL football, pretty doggone unique indeed. Again, getting used to all the new rules and regulations, but I did see some solid football. All 4 games there that I peeked on in there, and I really enjoyed that. As far as Major League, the National Football League, and that new contract that they want to shut down the players' throat and make them think that they're doing better than they will ever be doing before, I don't believe it. I really don't. The players think it stinks. I think it's going to be a huge fight over this one extra game they want to play. I think it's going to be even a bigger fight when it comes down to the playoff ramifications there, and a even bigger fight when it comes down to the exhibition season there, because a lot of the veterans now are always looking for breaks and not playing, and this will put the veterans right now maybe practically playing every game, which I would like to see, because it's not fair for us or the general fans to be paying for the mop-up squad that they drafted and whatnot, and don't see the regular players, only to see them when the regular season starts, they look like slop, okay? And that's what the Lions looked like last year, okay? So I don't know what to say, but it's going to be some infighting on those contracts and also on a lot of other things that the National Football League want to bring to the table there. First, the XFL, hey, less than maybe 7 weeks before they see a championship.
I like it indeed. Butch Davis joining us on the game. Again, you can catch his show, Butch on Sports, on his podcast page, Simply Butch 2. That's TOO.podomatic.com, or our webpage, thegamesportshow.com. Butch, you're going to rejoin us here in about 10 or 15 minutes for one more segment. We got to cover some more local sports, so we will talk to you in a little bit here on the game. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for Hour 1, but don't go anywhere. Hour 2 of the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, just a couple minutes away here on the game, ESPN 1400.
Mo at M&C Water Systems has a solution for all your water needs. Want clean, fresh drinking water? M&C Water Systems proudly distributes natural, artesian water for all your bottled water needs. Cooler rental and bottled water delivery for your home and office are available. M&C Water Systems delivers to all the local islands, too. Need a water filter? M&C has them. Need a softener? Drinking water system? Want to find out about reverse osmosis? Call Mo at M&C Water Systems today at 906-647-7307, serving the Eastern Upper Peninsula for over 25 years.
The local housing market is competitive, and unless you have the right team in your corner, you might miss out on your dream home. That's why happy customers choose Old Mission Bank for their home mortgage needs. We provide quality service from the time you submit your application to closing and then through the entire life of your loan. Let our friendly, knowledgeable staff be your financial partner. Call or stop by to check out our competitive rates and all the other fast, simple solutions we offer at Old Mission Bank. We're located in Pickford and Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. FDIC insured, equal housing lender.
Let's get to the second half of the game here on ESPN 1400, WKNW, Sault Ste. Marie's sports leader. It's the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Now, here's Scott Nason.
Welcome back to the game on ESPN 1400 and online at thegamesportshow.com. Hour 2 of the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show will be rejoined by Butch Davis, and EJ Russell will be joining us here in about 10 minutes or so for the second hour of the game, but we still have some local sports to cover, a lot of them to cover as we head into March Madness. We left off in our local sports wrap with the girls district tournaments. Now, the girls district tournament in Detour in Division 4 will start a week from tonight as Cedarville will take on St. Ignace. The winner of that game will take on Mackinac Island in the district semifinal. The other side of that bracket sees Detour taking on Pickford with the district final on March 6th. And Matt Pocket over on Oldies 93 will be covering that one for us here at Sovereign Communications. The other Division 4 girls basketball district will be in Rudyard. District semifinals on Wednesday, March 4th. Rudyard will take on Newberry. Engadine will take on Brimley, with that district final being on March 6th. The Soo High girls basketball districts will be down, well, in several locations, including a week from tonight in Grayling. Dave Watson will be down in Grayling covering the Soo High Blue Devils taking on Grayling. 5:45 pregame show over on 1230 WSOO. The winner of that game will take on Boyne City on Wednesday, March 4th. The other side of the bracket, Kingsley and Sheboygan on Monday. The winner will take on Kalkaska with the district final on Friday. And again, Dave Watson will have all the Soo High games, boys and girls, over on 1230 WSOO. Looking at some of the other local sports, the Soo High Blue Devil hockey team in action this weekend, losing twice down in Traverse City against the Bay Area Reps. Now, the Blue Devils will start their playoffs On Saturday in Division 3 in a regional semifinal in Alpena, 4 o'clock face-off, 3:45 pregame show. You can hear that one over on 1230 WSOO with Dave Watson. We mentioned the NOJHL Sioux Eagles with 3 victories over the weekend. The Thunderbirds, they would lose a couple games. Elliott Lake would knock them off at 3-2 on Friday, and then the Espanola Express yesterday afternoon winning against the Sioux Thunderbirds, and they would also lose to the Sioux Eagles. So the Thunderbirds kind of limping into the final weekend of the regular season. Again, the Thunderbirds and Eagles will play Saturday night at Puller Stadium. Eagles will also take on Elliott Lake Friday night. Both those games you can hear on ESPN 1400 with yours truly and Larry Pozzabon. Tough weekend for the Soo Greyhounds. They lose in overtime to Ottawa by the score of 5-4. Good effort by the Hounds in that one, but boy, yesterday afternoon they really let one slip as they lost to the only team behind them in the West, the Sarnia Sting, by the score of 4-2. So the Greyhounds have lost 4 straight. They sit in 9th place in the West Division, and they are looking on the outside, looking in, I should say, for the playoffs, and they got a big 3 games coming up. Thursday at Windsor, Friday at London, Sunday at Sarnia. Both games you can hear over on Rock 101. Moving on to Lake State Athletics. They were in action on the road for basketball. The men got a big victory on Thursday as they defeat Wisconsin Parkside by the score of 62-60. The women would fall 90-64. And then the Laker men, they absolutely had to get this game Saturday, and they could not as they lost to Purdue Northwest by the score of 86-71. And so the Lakers right now, they're on the outside looking in. The Laker men, as far as playoffs, they're 9-10 in the standings. They're tied with Ashland and Northern Michigan. However, they don't have the tiebreaker against either one of those squads. So what they have to do, the Laker men have to win at Ferris State on Thursday and hope Northern loses to Michigan Tech. First things first, Lakers got to knock off one of the best teams in the GLIAC and then get a little help. So we'll see what happens there. So good luck to Coach Steve Henninga and his Laker men. Laker women on the road getting a victory, 65-62 on Saturday over Purdue Northwest, bringing their season win total to 8, which tied last year's win total. And the 4th conference win is the most since the 2015-2016 season, as Abby Osman, she had a nice game for the Lakers, 19 points in the victory. Laker hockey at home this weekend. A lot of Laker hockey news. They would win on Friday night, over the Northern Michigan Wildcats by the score of 6-1. Max Humitz with a pair of goals for the Lakers. And then on senior night, the Lakers would fall to the Wildcats by the score of 5-1. The Lakers will be on the road this weekend at Ferris State, taking on the Bulldogs. Both games Friday and Saturday you can hear over on Yes FM with Bill Crawford on the mic. And the Lakers, they're assured 7th place in the WCHA. They're 6 points behind Michigan Tech. However, they can't catch them as far as a tiebreaker. And it looks like they're going to play their quarterfinal series in the WCHA against Bemidji State. I don't know if that's official, but by my math, it looks like the Lakers will be going to Bemidji. Speaking of the Lakers, big news over the past week as, well, the Lakers, after next season, will be in a brand new conference for the 2021-2022 season. And we know the name of the conference. It's a familiar name, the Central Collegiate Hockey Association. How about that? The 7 member institutions will be Lake State along with Bemidji State, Bowling Green, Ferris, Michigan Tech, Minnesota State Mankato, and Northern Michigan University. The alignment, led by Dr. Morris Kurtz, will be taking some steps, including the search for the league's first commissioner, which they hope to have in place by July 1st of this year. And they're moving to possibly get another team in. With 7 teams, it seems unlikely that they may play with 7 teams. And I don't know, some of the teams potentially that could be in the CCHA. How about Miami, Western? Would be nice to get a couple former members of the CCHA in there. We don't know that. We know it's 7. So after next season, the Lakers will no longer have conference games against Alabama Huntsville, Alaska Anchorage, and the University of Alaska. And to me, that's good news. And I like the fact that they went back to the CCHA. Looking at our broadcast schedule this week, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, right here on ESPN 1400, the Laker Hockey Show with Bill Crawford and head coach Damon Witten. We'll also have Soo High boys basketball over on 1230 WSOO with Dave Watson, as the Blue Devils will be taking on Petoskey. I'll be in Brimley for girls basketball over on Oldies 93 in our EUP game of the week, as the Rudyard Bulldogs will take on the Brimley Bays. We'll have Detroit Pistons basketball right here on ESPN at 1400, 8:35 pregame show with Mark Champion and Rick Mahorn as the Pistons are at Denver. Thursday night, we have the Soo Greyhounds over on Rock 101 at the Windsor Spitfires, 6:35 pregame show. Soo High boys basketball over on 1230 WSOO with Dave Watson around 7 o'clock, as the Blue Devils will be taking on Brimley in a makeup game, and will be joining the Detroit Red Wings Minnesota Wild game in progress Thursday night on 1230 WSOO. Busy Friday night on our airwaves, including Laker hockey over on Yes FM with Bill Crawford, as the Lakers will take on Ferris State, 6:35 pregame show. Matt Pocket will be at the Purple Palace in Pickford for our EUP game of the week. Boys basketball, as the Rudyard Bulldogs will take on the Pickford Panthers. That should be a very good game there. We also have Soo Greyhounds hockey at London over on Rock 101, 7:05 pregame show Friday night. And yours truly, along with Larry Pozzabon, will be at Puller Stadium for Parents and Military Weekend, as the Sioux Eagles will take on Elliott Lake. We'll have the call of that one starting with the pregame show at 7:15. We also have Soo High girls basketball Friday night against Escanaba over on 1230 WSOO with Dave Watson. Saturday, 11:05, Coach's Corner. I'll be filling in for Dave, as we'll have Matt Pocket talk about the week that was in EUP sports, along with head coach Mike Fitzner from the Soo High Blue Devil boys basketball team, all on Coach's Corner Saturday morning at Applebee's starting at 11:05. Dave Watson will be traveling to Alpena for the Soo High Blue Devil playoff game against Tawa, so we'll have the call on 1230 WSOO starting with the pregame show at 3:45. We'll also have Laker hockey, a little bit early start, 5:35 on Yes FM, as the Lakers will take on Ferris State. We'll have Sioux Eagles hockey right here on on ESPN 1400, as the Eagles will be taking on the Sioux Thunderbirds. Yours truly and Larry Pozzabon with the call of that one. We'll also have Detroit Red Wings hockey Saturday night, as the Detroit Red Wings will be at Ottawa to take on the Senators. And if you want to hear the full 2-hour version of this show, including the first hour with our guests, Sioux Eagles head coach Doug Laprade, along with Steve Habusta and Morgan Burd, one of the members of the swim team, you can do so by going to the podcast page, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or you can go to the website, thegamesportshow.com. We're going to take a break here on the game. We come back, we'll be rejoined by Butch Davis from Butch on Sports. We're hoping to be in contact with EJ Russell from Escanaba, Michigan for tonight's edition of the Roundtable. You're listening to the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. You're listening to The Game on ESPN 1400.
Winter is here. You can't beat it. You might as well join the fun. Lead Sports Center has the boots you need to keep your feet warm and ready for adventure. It's the perfect time to save on snowshoes for the whole family, too. Boots and snowshoes are now 20% off. Select socks are sale price, too. Expecting a tax refund? Lead's Firearm Layaway Program can help you make the most of it. Don't hibernate. Get out and make the most of the season with the help of Lead Sports Center on the I-75 Business Burr in Sioux, Michigan. Leeds is open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 6, Thursdays from 10 to 8, and Saturday 10 to 4. Closed Sunday and Monday.
The President's Day event is on at O'Connor's of Pickford. Right now, save on ultra-low mile leases, like a new 2020 Ram 1500 Quad Cab, 27 months, just $229 a month with $33.49 due at signing. Or a new 2020 Jeep Compass Limited, 36 months at just $239 a month with $35.14 due at signing. Or a new 2020 Cherokee Trailhawk, 27 months for only $269 a month with $33.26 due at signing. The President's Day event, now at O'Connor's of Pickford.
If you need a few extra dollars to help with your heating bills or help pay for that trip you may want to take to the warm state of Hawaii, bring Reed Metals your unwanted scrap metals and they'll print you a check. Reed Metals in Dafter is your honest, main source, one-stop metal recycling business serving northern Michigan. Reed Metals will pay you for items items like scrap vehicles, heavy equipment, catalytic converters, radiators, batteries, rims, and motors. Reed Metals will give you an honest price without surprise fees or deductions at the scale. Bring in copper, brass, lead, tin, cast, aluminum, steel, and many more types of recyclable metals, and they'll print you a check with your name on it. Reed Metals also offers roll-off dumpster service. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Visit reedmetals.com or call 906-632-0018. Bring it in or have it hauled, and Reed Metals will print you a check with your name on it. Reed Metals, 11 miles south of the Soo on Mackinac Trail. The last tractor you'll ever need is here. Get into a Massey Ferguson compact or utility tractor and accomplish more than ever before. These versatile tractors are known for their unbeatable power, smart fuel economy, and upgraded creature comforts. And with their ability to multitask through any job around the yard or farm, they'll provide you with outstanding value for years to come. Do all you need to do and more with Massey Ferguson compact and utility tractors. Visit Skinner's of Pigford to find the right model for your operation. You want more from a compact or utility tractor, and at Skinner's of Pickford, you'll find more. More of the newest Massey Ferguson tractors, offering more versatility, more durability, and more performance. Stop by today and find out how Massey Ferguson is expanding the possibilities of what a great tractor can be, and why a Massey Ferguson will be the last tractor you'll ever need. Come see the Massey Ferguson compact and utility tractors at Skinner's of Pickford, your tractor source in the north. You can catch podcasts of the game at thegamesportshow.com. Now let's get back to it with Scott Nason here on ESPN 1400.
Welcome back to the game on ESPN 1400 and online at thegamesportshow.com. 7:14 on this Monday night as we enter the roundtable portion of the game. We're continuing to be joined by Butch Davis for about another 15 minutes. We're joined right now, co-host and all-around good guy from Escanaba, Michigan. We call him EJ Russell.
Yo.
Who joins us on the game each and every week. EJ, how you doing on this beautiful Monday night in the Upper Peninsula?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, it's beautiful over here, too. It's been a nice sunny day all day long, and kind of jealous I had to sit inside and work all day. I would have rather been out sitting on a bucket trying to pull fish through a hole, but happy to be here with you guys as always.
Always good to have the gang here. We miss Dave McKeag tonight. We'll catch him in a couple weeks here as he's going on vacation, I'm told, next week to a much warmer location. But let's talk sports here. Butch, we know you got to go early, so we're going to give you the first topic tonight. EJ will give you first response. So, Butch Davis, what's on your mind tonight in the world of sports, my friend?
Nothing. Oh, golly. Let's see what I can really talk about. Let's look at the trade for the National Hockey League. There was a lot of trades going on today here, besides what had to keep up with the Red Wings for the last 24 hours there. And just want to know how you guys feel about those particular trades and whatnot. That Ilya Kovalchuk for the Capitals now. That I would never thought that, okay? But tell me what you think.
All you, my friend EJ, NHL Trade Deadline. We talked Wings. What about the rest of the league?
To me, the one that really made the most noise was Ilya Kovalchuk going to the Capitals. I mean, these are two Russian players that have played together on the Olympic team. Two of the greatest Russian players on the same team now. Ilya Kovalchuk's kind of his own animal. He's been doing his own thing, whether it be in the NHL or in the KHL. But this is a guy with an incredible amount of talent. I'm pretty sure, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's led the league in goals before, playing with a guy that, just passed the 700 goal mark. And this is an absolutely fantastic trade for them. The other trade that I had my eyes on were the Red Wings moving on from Mike Green, getting Kyle Brodziak and a conditional pick in the 4th round in next year's draft. I thought that was good. I don't think that Mike Green is the kind of player that he used to be with the Washington Capitals. That was when he was at his prime. He just hasn't been that for the Red Wings. He's more of an offensive defenseman, in my opinion. And if he's not moving the puck and putting it in the back of the net, well, I think it's time to move on from him. And I think it was time for them to move on from Mike Green 2 years ago, in my opinion. So that was a good trade for the Wings to move on from him, get rid of that contract, and bring in a different player. Outside, not a ton of noise that really grabbed my attention. However, there was a trade involving the Flames. They're getting Eric Gustafson from the Blackhawks. I thought that was a nice trade. The Flames get Eric Gustafson from the Blackhawks. I said it that way. That's a great move for the Flames. This is a team that is on the upswing, in my opinion, has good leadership. I love Johnny Gaudreau and what he's doing for that team. And anytime in hockey you get a chance to secure up your defenseman, it's a good opportunity, because this is a league that, since the last lockout and all the rule changes, is designed to improve the amount of scoring. So anytime that you can better up yourself defensively, I think that's a great move. But hands down, the trade of the day has to be Ilya Kovalchuk to the Capitals.
Yeah, I agree, AJ. And, looking at a couple other teams and making moves, I think another big move, a team that, potentially could be making a big move in the playoffs in the East, is the Pittsburgh Penguins acquiring forward Patrick Marleau from the Sharks for a third-round conditional pick. I mean, you look at putting him on that squad that can already score goals. I think that is a very, very good trade. And Edmonton really kind of, throwing some picks and things out there. Ken Holland, no stranger to making some bold moves for the now and maybe giving up some in the future. The Oilers also get forward Tyler Ennis from Ottawa for a 5th-round pick, along with the Wings that we mentioned. You look at Colorado making some moves. They get a goaltender in Michael Hutchinson. They also get a good forward. So, I don't think it was like the biggest splash as far as NHL trade deadline, but you guys mentioned it. Kovalchuk going to the Washington Capitals. I mean, I almost think you got to put the Capitals as one of the favorites. They're going to have to play Pittsburgh potentially in the playoffs before they even get to the opportunity of a Boston or Tampa Bay. And you look at what the East is right now. The East is loaded up. And poor Dave McKegg's Toronto Maple Leafs. I'll get to that more later when it comes to my thumbs up for the week. Losing to the Zamboni driver, Toronto at home. I love it. Butch, those are some of the things I'm seeing from the trade deadline. What say you, sir?
I say someone should have grabbed the Zamboni driver right away here after that stunning win, and I'm quite sure the family could use the money other than $500 and a jersey. And then the Carolina people went out there and printed T-shirts, and they're going to give X amount of dollars to his favorite charity. But I didn't hear them say that he gets a profit off of maybe 10 or 15% of the T-shirts there. So that saying there, I think a lot of the trades there have been very beneficial to the people or the teams that are on or in, the playoffs right now there, which it's been very well illustrated there. As far as the Redway, let's start off with the Edmonton Oilers there. Ken Holland will drain them dry too here when far come to talent there. The Redways got at least 3 of them draft picks and some younger players as well from Mike Green, and there's also from Andrew Sesson there. That's going to be pretty woolly indeed. Edmonton hasn't been in it for a while. I'm quite sure right now a lot of excited people in Edmonton is looking for some great results in there. They may go somewhere with some of the moves that they made there. I'm looking at Pittsburgh right now. They made some dramatic moves and making themselves look better. Capitals really did a job with their particular trade there in general there. And also, we look at Ottawa. Ottawa dumped a lot of players to the NHL this past weekend and last week there. So, I guess my thoughts is Ottawa has a lot of good young talent there, ready to let bloom out there on the ice for these last 23 or 24 games. And, of course, I'll repeat it again, after 63 games, the Red Wings are out of the playoffs there. So it doesn't cost them nothing now to play those young players there and find out who's who and what's what. All in all, this is just part one. Now, you got to look at waivers now, okay? The trade deadline is over. You can't go one-on-one. you got to now give waivers out. And I don't think that's over either, as a lot of teams are going to get rid of some players via the waiver wire there, have to buy them out. For the next 3 weeks, it's going to be wacky in the NHL.
It sure will. EJ Russell, why don't you bring up your topic to Butch? I'll give him the first try to respond, and then I'll have a short reply before we get to his thumbs up and thumbs down for the week. So, EJ Russell, what's on your mind tonight in the world of sports?
I'll keep this short, sweet, and get right to the point here. NCAA basketball. There has been a lot of movement inside of the AP top 25. Teams that were outside are getting back in. Teams that were up top are losing, and number one goes down again. I'll put this out here, cut and dry. Who, for you guys, are your top 4 teams going into the March Madness tournament right now?
Butch, I'll give the floor to you, sir.
I don't have any. I really don't. I truly, if I name 2-3 doggone teams, they're going to get their rear end kicked probably this weekend or next weekend there. I talked to Scott earlier in the show tonight there. He talked about the Big Ten having as many as 11 teams going in there, which I think is going horse hockey. I don't think that's going to happen, okay? If it's tripped over, as long as the ACC and the SEC is living and breathing and whatnot there, as many teams that they kind of feel, and that's not going to happen. I did mention, though, no one's saying anything about the Big West or the Pac-10 or the Pac-12 as they call it now there, which got some outstanding teams. No one has talked about Colorado at all. Not too many. Well, some have talked about Oregon and the job they're doing there, but no one's saying anything about USC. UCLA is at the bottom of the pack, but still they're eligible for preseason postseason ratifications there. We ain't saying anything about Gonzaga, who got their rear end kicked in. But again, we haven't said anything about some other teams that are going up the ladder, such as BYU or maybe Washington State University. So it's going to be a screen. I have not mentioned San Diego State University. Mm-hmm. No one has mentioned them. Well, they mentioned them in a whisper, but they mentioned them more for them losing one game this weekend than anything. So, to be fair and square right now, I don't think it's going to be too much of a picking for at least a couple of weeks until we get down to that date of the 14th when that show comes about, when we find out who's who and what's what, EJ.
Yeah, Butch, I'll be brief on this as well, because I know you got to go after your thumbs up. I guess if there's one team I'm looking at right now, they seem to be the hot team. It's Kansas, fresh off that win at Baylor. They look good, but boy, I'll tell you what, it's a crapshoot is trying to figure this out. I mean, we could see a very wild tournament, and I think we will see a wild tournament. And we haven't really talked about some of these other, smaller conference teams. And one I watch is a conference that I love down in the South, because I was down there for a couple weeks last year at the Southern Conference, where you had Wofford from last year. Yeah, Furman's a team that I'm watching. East Tennessee State. That only one team's going to get out of that conference, but watch out. One of those teams is potentially going to make some noise in the NCAA tournament. EJ, I'm going to have you hold off your answer for the next segment, because I know Butch has to go, so I want to give him enough time to get his thumbs up and thumbs down for the week. So, Butch Davis, your thumbs up and thumbs down for the week.
Thumbs up is definitely Mr. Harris, okay? He's going to be living that doggone day for the rest of his life. That was a beautiful story. And I sat and watched the game. That made it so bad here. Hockey night in Canada is a beautiful thing. But I did watch that game to the entirety. And who would think he'd be the first star of the game there? By golly, that was a good one. I don't have no thumbs down this week, because everything's going to be rapidly bad, including the evenings that you're going to have to give up wrestling or something just to watch the combine at the NFL there, and also some of the crap they're going through there. There's going to be a lot of trades this weekend, I can tell you that much, for the NFL. So, good TV, bad TV, whatever you want to call it there. There you go right there for that.
Butch, we appreciate you joining us tonight on the game as always, and we will talk to you next Monday night where it will be March, and we will be head first into March Madness, my friend. Have a good week, and we'll talk to you next Monday night here on the game.
All right, you and EJ, y'all have a good week, okay?
Thank you, Butch, and we're going to take a break here on the game. We come back, we'll hear EJ's answer on his own topic and have more of the Twin Sault's only local, regional, national sports show, The Game, on ESPN 1400.
Looking for the lowest prices and the best deals on quality used cars, trucks, or SUVs? Look no further than Rodenroth Motors. We have the largest selection of quality pre-owned certified vehicles ever, all priced below book, and all come with a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty. It's our way of standing behind what we sell and guaranteeing you that you'll get the highest quality pre-owned vehicle only at Rodenroth Motors. Stop in and check out our largest selection ever, with prices starting at $49.95. I'm sure we'll have something for you. Don't forget to look for the hang tag specials. These units are clearly priced at or near dealer cost. Just another way we can save you even more money. Come see why all roads lead to Rodenroth Motors for Chevy, Buick, and GMC, the #1 volume dealer in the Eastern UP. At the corner of 3 Mile and Mackinac Trail in beautiful Sault Ste. Marie. Find us on the web or like us on Facebook. Chevy, find new roads.
One of the best ways to teach your child the value of money is to open a youth savings account. It's a great way to start them on a lifetime habit of savings with competitive rates and flexible plans. Ask about the younger side of savings.
Soo Co-op Credit Union, your credit union, federally insured by NCUA. Visit us online at SooCoop.com.
Let's get back to the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Let's get back to the game on ESPN 1400.
Welcome back to the game on ESPN 1400 and online at thegamesportshow.com. Scott Nason with you from our studios on ESPN 1400, 3 Mile Road and M129. We're continued to be joined by EJ Russell from Escanaba, Michigan. This is the roundtable portion of the show for the remaining half hour. And EJ, you brought up the topic of college basketball and your top 4 teams heading into the tournament. I did give one, but that's about all I can give right now, Butch. EJ, I like Kansas, but boy, it's really tough to pick maybe the top 4. Maybe you have it. So the floor is yours, sir.
Well, you kind of have to look at how things are set up. And the first team that I want to say is for sure getting in as one of your top 4 teams has got to be Dayton.
Yeah.
Dayton has put together a fantastic run. One of their losses coming against a Kansas team that is now ranked #1 in the country in a close game. But they've beaten a lot of other good basketball teams. They've beaten Georgia. Excuse me. They put together a great run in the Maui Jim Invitational out there in Hawaii. And I don't see a way that they don't win the regular season crown and don't win that tournament. If they do that, then I think that there are for sure #1 seed in the tournament. The other team that I think is darn near shoo-in is Gonzaga. Okay. Yeah. Yes, they may have lost the other day, but this is a university in Washington that has put together a fantastic basketball program over the last 15, 20 years. They've done a great job of taking themselves from a small school to a big name. Okay. And when you say Gonzaga in basketball, that strikes fear in the heart of a lot of fans. They understand that you're going up against a good team. Even when I was younger, I used to always, and still to this day, will always pick them to win at least one game in the tournament. I think they're a shoo-in for the #1. The final 2 spots are tough. I think Baylor's made a heck of a run. However, coming off of a loss. And Kansas, in my opinion, under Bill Self, has been a little too inconsistently good, I'll say. You just don't know if they're going to find a way to beat a team that they should beat or if they're just going to come out and blow you out of the water. They could go either way. I want to say that Kansas is in, though. Baylor is the one team that will be a #1 seed. But going back to Kansas, I think that that's the top team No, honestly, top team in the country right now. If any one of those 4 teams that I stated are not going to be a number 1 seed, I think it's Kansas, because that Big 12 conference is a good basketball conference. They still got to play Baylor. One of those 2 teams has to come out on top. But Kansas has been better throughout the year, in my opinion. I like what they're doing with that basketball program. So I'll take my Final 4 right now. I think Kansas and Baylor could get in, but I'll go in order. I'll go Baylor, Gonzaga, Dayton, and then I'll take Florida State, because I think that they're going to win the ACC, which is a very difficult conference. They're playing against Louisville as we speak right now, live on the air. Unfortunately, I don't think they're playing that well right now. I think they are losing this game. 19-24, but they're in it. And they kind of came out of nowhere this year. They're a great team. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch them, turn on the game right now. It's on ESPN. They're playing Louisville. They're at home, and they have just found a way to play good basketball every single game this year. And honestly, when you get a team like that comes out of nowhere, what do they have to lose? They're not known as a basketball school. They play in a basketball conference. If they can continue to find success and win the ACC tournament, I say they make a number 1 seed.
EJ Russell joining us on the game. EJ, I know you talked a little bit about this on Dave McKeag shows from Soo, Ontario, which you can find at thegamesportshow.com, and they're in the pocket segment. We haven't talked about it on here because it happened after our show. The NFL obviously is looking at changing their playoff format as well as a potential 17-game season. The owners have agreed to a lot of that. It's all in the hands of the Players Association and the new collective bargaining proposal, which could end up going into effect as early as the 2020 season as far as the playoffs. And right now the proposal is 14 teams would make the playoffs instead of the current 12, 7 in the NFC, 7 in the AFC, with only 1 team getting a first round playoff bye, and then you'd have 2 against 7, 3 against 6. Potentially you could have 6 playoff games in one weekend. What are your thoughts as far as this new agreement, EJ? First starting with the playoff and then the 17-game season. Which one do you think is going to be easier to implement, and are you a fan of any of this?
Not a fan of either.
Wow.
Here's why. As a football fan, of course I want to see more football. The playoff expansion to me doesn't make a lot of sense. The only way I'd be okay with it is if the players are seeing a bigger cut than they're already getting as far as incentives go for making the playoffs. Because by adding another team to the playoff picture here, instead of having 2 buys or getting 1, it just feels like a money grab. It's cheeky. I don't know what you're really gaining from it, especially since there aren't many bottom-seeded teams that make the big run at the Super Bowl. I mean, you had the most recent team that comes to memory for me is New York Giants beating the Patriots, when they were undefeated. That was probably the most memorable of those lower-seeded teams that I can remember even making a run at it, let alone winning the whole dang thing. I don't like the playoff move. This is a league where we're trying to push for player safety. Why are we picking another team to get into the playoffs that, in my opinion, doesn't have a real shot at winning the title? I get it. Get in. Win and you're in. Get in and you got a shot. But to me, it just feels like a cash grab, more playoff merchandise to be sold. Yeah, it'd be cool to get, another team in there. But I think that the NFL is certainly a league that's been very much based off of traditions, and this is one that has been working for a while. The wheel's not broken. Don't fix it, in my opinion. As far as adding a 17th game goes, I am also not in favor of that. Again, that's a total cash grab from the owners. Yes, the players get another game check, but I don't think that you're going to see any significant changes to player contracts, which is why I'm against this. If you're going to start paying the players more money because they're adding another game, then fine, makes sense. But I don't think that's going to happen. They're not going to dramatically change the values of these contracts because guys are playing one more game. We're taking these players that have enough issues staying healthy with their medical concerns, and we're going to make them play another game. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to add another team to the playoffs. So now you got 50, 52, 53 more guys that have the potential of getting hurt. I don't like it. To me, when we talked about this on the In the Pocket segment Wednesday with Dave and Anto, I didn't see how this isn't comparable to the college football playoff. We used to complain all the time in the BCS that, you got two teams, you got to have more than two teams. Well, guess what? We created the BCS because we were tired of voting on who the national champion was. So then we put the top two teams, and then people complained about that. And when the playoff came out, I think every one of us would have sat there and went, yeah, I think we can certainly figure out who the best four teams in the country are. And now guess what we're doing? We're sitting here talking about, on other days, not necessarily now, but sitting here talking about, let's add more teams to college football playoff. No, I'm not against these playoff expansions. I think that in the NFL, the playoff system is good as it is. I don't see the need to make two more teams play one more game each. Okay, the number 2 seed now doesn't get a bye anymore. They got to play on wild card weekend. And I think that the NFL should reward these top 2 teams as it currently stands. Give them their break for a week. Let them rest up, because the NFL wants to put a good product on the field. You really want to care about your players, make sure they're healthy, and give your fans the best option. Give those guys an extra week off like they've been doing. I think I like the playoff format as it rests, and I really don't see the benefit to us as fans by adding this other game.
I'll agree with half of your segment or your statement, EJ, and I'll disagree with the other. Starting with the schedule, I like the 16-game schedule. I don't know if adding a game in the regular season is really going to be worth it. Would I like to see some preseason games be cut off? I know you and I disagree on this. I wouldn't mind losing at least one of those games, but I'm not a big fan of the 17-game season. I like that where it is, but I'm a fan of this playoff proposal, and let me tell you why. Because I like the fact that this is meaning more meaningful games in the regular season, and the fact that the best teams maybe aren't playing a throwaway game in the final week because there's only one first round bye instead of 2. The other reason I like it is more of a chance for the Lions to get in the playoffs. Again, that can also sometimes be very challenging. I think if you win 10 games in the NFL, you should get into the playoffs. It doesn't water down the competition too much. In the NBA, they get 16 of the 30 teams in. This is still just 14 of 32. So I don't think it waters down the competition. And, from a personal standpoint, the fact that we could have 6 playoff games in one weekend, I mean, that's fantastic. And so I think this is a good proposal. The NFL obviously wants to make more money. I want to watch more playoff football. I want to see my Detroit Lions in the playoffs. Everything. It's a winner chicken dinner from my perspective, EJ.
Well, I don't know why you're picking for the hope of the Lions to get in as your reason. That's like me saying out the Browns are going to get in. This is just truths that are not often truth.
True.
You do make some good points about the throwaway games at the end of the year. To me, though, I just don't see. I think the risk to the players outweighs the product that you're going to get. I think we're fine with the format.
EJ, we got time for one more topic before we go to our final break of the night. So the floor is yours, sir. We got lots of time. So what else would you like to talk about tonight in the world of sports?
I'm deferring. You gave me first topic when it comes to NCAA. So, Scott, I want to flip it to you. What do you want to talk about?
Well, let's talk about the NBA. Obviously today is the games were overshadowed, or at least tonight's game's overshadowed by the memorial service for Kobe Bryant and Gianna Bryant. And so I didn't get a chance to watch that, EJ. And, you had a chance to watch some of it. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that to kind of close this chapter of, what's been a tough month really in the world of sports with Kobe Bryant's tragic passing along with his daughter and 7 others. How did the ceremony go? And what are some of your takes from a very emotional day in Los Angeles again?
Well, I'll say this, Scott. I did not get a chance to watch the entire 2 hours of the ceremony yet. However, I do plan on watching it when I return home tonight. But I think that the right people spoke. You heard from Michael Jordan. You heard from Shaquille O'Neal. Diana Taurasi, which I thought was an awesome addition to the speakers. speaking, I haven't heard her speech yet, but I'm assuming on behalf of what Kobe Bryant did for League and Gianna and what she looked like she had the potential to do for the WNBA. The only person that I know spoke that I really don't care to hear what he had to say was Rob Pelinka. You know, there was so much drama around him with Magic Johnson and pushing him out of the organization. I don't know that I care to hear what his opinion is. But of course, Vanessa Bryant did what I saw in the 6 or 7 minute speech, 6 or 7 minutes of the speech that I've seen. I thought she had a ton of guts to go up there in an arena full of people cheering their heads off in support of her and her family. I don't know how she did that. I don't know how she could have done that. I give her all the credit in the world. And I thought she was well-spoken. I thought she said the right things. It came from the heart. I enjoyed the little anecdotes that are particularly the one that she shared about Gianna, which is that she used to always get a kiss from Gianna in the morning, and one day she didn't get it, and so she texted Gigi and said, "Hey, you left me without my morning kiss." And she goes, "No, Mom, you were sleeping. I came in and kissed you because I didn't want to wake you up." Just very heartfelt, loving moments between a mother and daughter that were shared with the world today. I thought she handled it extremely well. The only thing that I hope didn't happen, and again, I haven't seen the full thing yet, is that it didn't turn into a spectacle of who was and wasn't there.
Right.
I don't think it matters who was and wasn't there. I think what matters is honoring the lives of these people that should still be with us, that were taken from us too soon. And me as a sports fan, selfishly, I wanted to, after everything that I've heard about Gianna Bryant, man, I wish I could have seen her play.
Yeah.
They make her out to be better than her dad. And I think that the whole world missed out on, as some people would say, had the potential to be the greatest WNBA player of all time. I really would have loved to see what that looked like, especially seeing another Bryant on the floor.
And looking on the court, EJ, before we wrap up this segment, I mean, we saw a really good game yesterday with the Lakers and Celtics. Lakers with the last-second victory over Celtics. Obviously, for the league standpoint, it's important that those two franchises are good and, establishing one of the greatest rivalries in the NBA going back to the 80s and even 2000s when those teams played. But you keep just look at Milwaukee and what they're doing. I mean, they still could get 70 wins. It's going to be tough, but they still could get 70 wins in the East. And, you're looking at a team that potentially could knock that Milwaukee team off in a 4 of 7 game series. I mean, the Celtics are getting better, but boy, Milwaukee looks so strong right now with a team that hasn't had much playoff success as of late. And in the West, the Lakers look good. The Houston, I don't know what's going on there. The team that I've kind of quietly thought might have a good season, Denver, they are having a good season, second place in the West. Just overall thoughts kind of on where we sit in the NBA, still a few months from the playoffs, but boy, Milwaukee, they sure look good, don't they?
I don't know how anyone in the East is going to touch Milwaukee. And I have to say this, I can't remember a time where a team's clinched a playoff berth any faster than Milwaukee's done here. And that includes, the 90s Bulls team that won 71 games. That includes Golden State Warriors that won 72, 70, whatever their record is. I don't care because they're a bunch of – I'm not going to say anything more than what I want to say. But you put that many All-Stars on a team, they're supposed to win that many games, okay? But the Milwaukee Bucks are not that team. And they're sitting there at 48 wins and 8 losses. 8 losses. The next closest team is the Los Angeles Lakers with 12.
Yeah.
What Milwaukee's doing in the East this year is unbelievable, and they're doing it against some pretty darn good teams. Because let's not look past Toronto Raptors; they're still a good basketball team, even without Kawhi Leonard. Boston Celtics, good team. Miami's made some big jumps. My big question mark and the team that was most built to beat the Milwaukee Bucks was Philadelphia 76ers. Now you got Ben Simmons sitting out for a undetermined amount of time. With a back injury, what's going to happen there? So I just don't see a path where Milwaukee doesn't just walk right through the whole Eastern Conference. As far as Western Conference goes, yes, Denver's putting up absolutely fantastic here, playing above expectations in my opinion. The Clippers playing below expectations. So the Rockets playing below expectations. But the Lakers look good. Anthony Davis and LeBron James is working. And what I find most interesting is when we talk about LeBron James on a team, he's typically the top point scorer on that team. He's not this year, and we're still talking about him. Anthony Davis seems to be scoring. Every time I look at a highlight film, LeBron goes off for 28 points. Anthony Davis, 41.
Yeah,
41,
right.
He's always out. And what that tells me is that even as he's aging as a player, LeBron James is still continuing to make other players around him, even the best players around him, better. Because Anthony Davis is probably having one of the best seasons of his career and is doing that with, in my opinion, the best player on the planet. I don't see how we don't see Milwaukee versus the Lakers as a final this year. The only way that happens is if Denver can find a way to play really, really good defense, or the Clippers can find a way to play really, really good defense in the Western Conference Finals, because those are the top three teams coming out of there for me. I understand that, yes, they're ranked 1, 2, 3 right now. Houston, you've been rolling with a lineup of, was it 6-6 or less for a while? That's not going to work against some of these bigger teams. You can't beat Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, or even, Pascal or Siakam in Toronto. These are big guys. You got to be able to match up against them. These guys can play in the post, and if you don't have a post player, you're going to have a hard time. Okay, Lakers look like the favorite out of the West, in my opinion. Milwaukee, you can write the ticket now, cash it. They're making the finals, and that'll make for a pretty interesting NBA finals, in my opinion, too. Your big LA town versus small city Milwaukee. Blue collar versus white collar. It's going to have a great feel to it. I honestly believe that this might be Milwaukee's year. They do have a shot at getting to 72 wins. Excuse me. They say right. It's not 72 wins.
70 and 12.
Wins is a record.
72. I think the Bulls 72 and 10. Yep.
I mean, they got a shot. It's possible they could even go 73 and 9. Hey, who knows? They're that good this year. Giannis Antetokounmpo is one of the best players in this league. Is the best player in this league right now, and just in the prime of his career. I don't see how Milwaukee doesn't walk away with it.
EJ, we got about 10 minutes left in the show. We're going to keep it here till the top of the hour, and this weekend, the 40th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice, 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid. Any sports fan, or really just anybody of pop culture and just watching things remembers, at least some of us do. I was a little too young to remember at the time, but the Team USA in ice hockey knocking off the Soviet Union by the score of 4-3 in the semifinal game. They did beat Finland 4-2 to win the gold medal, and we saw lots of things over the weekend reliving those events, lots of interviews, replays of the goal, and I think of any sports call to this day that I hear that still gives me chills. 5 seconds. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. Al Michaels, one of the greatest calls of all time. And, wanted your just recollection or thoughts on that. But the question I have for the roundtable is, are we ever going to see a story like that in sports? I mean, we saw a story this weekend up in Toronto, the emergency goaltender who was the Zamboni driver for the Toronto Marlies come in and get a victory for the Carolina Hurricanes. Is that on the level of Miracle on Ice? No, but it was a very improbable story that really nobody could have seen once that game began, and the Maple Leafs fans giving this goaltender a standing ovation. Dave McKeag probably in a closet somewhere hurling over because of it. But will we ever see a story like this in sports? You never know what you're going to see, but for all the things that went on with Miracle on Ice, with not just the hockey, but the politics, where our nation was at that time, will we ever see anything like that again?
I don't see how we can, and I think that one of the most important details to remember about the Miracle on Ice story, to which I was not alive for. It was 8 years before my gift of being to the world.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I want to get a little creative with that.
I like it.
those players on that USSR team were all good enough to be career NHLers, okay? And every kid on the U.S. team was a college kid. Essentially, you had, not essentially, you had a team that pounded the NHL All-Stars, go up against a bunch of college kids that didn't know each other and figured out how to do it in less than a year's time to beat the greatest team in the world. I don't know, especially the way that politics work these days. I just don't know that we're going to see anything like that again. Because if we got to a point like that, politically, I don't know that the other team would show up for the Olympics. Russia can't even be in the Olympics.
Right.
Olympic
You're right.
From Russia. How can we see this again if they can't even get into the dang thing without cheating? It's the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest story in sports history. I think the only thing that you can get that's kind of closer to that, something like the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury fight.
Yes.
Deontay Wilder, a career boxer, 49-0 going into this weekend against Tyson Fury. Just a British brawler.
Yeah.
The dad bod that has no, got into boxing kind of in a fluky way. I don't know if I remember this correctly. Wasn't he a school teacher at one point?
I believe so. I don't think he licked blood then, though.
No, the guy was just an average Joe, and when you look at him and he's boxing in his trunks, he looks like an average Joe. He throws a punch and half his body jiggles. That's probably the closest thing that you're going to get, to a story like this. Tyson Fury is, kind of the United States, and Deontay Wilder is kind of the Russian monster that this game or this fight could have kind of been compared to. But the way that we cover sports nowadays, I don't know that we'll ever see that again. I don't think it can happen. I don't think it will happen. But I think that for anyone that can still look it up, listen, watch it, because it's one of the greatest moments in the history of humanity, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really is, EJ. And I agree. I mean, just the way, first of all, the Olympics are set up. You don't have amateur athletes taking on professionals and, that Russian team. And there's been a lot of good documentaries out on just the Iron Curtain and Soviet hockey. I would highly recommend watching some of those. I know there was a film in Michigan. I don't know if it's come out on DVD, but it was on the Russian 5. I'm not sure what that one was called, but just what the Soviets
ESPN did that. I don't know that that's come out yet.
Yeah, so I mean, just some really good things. And again, it's hard in a team sport to see, but that's the nice thing about sports, EJ, is you never know. You never know what you're going to see, and we could be here on this, February 24th, 2020, saying it's never going to happen. And you know what? Something's going to happen that we don't expect. And that's why sports, to me, is so important. It takes away from all the noise in life when you turn on this channel and hear this person, this politician, and just all the negativity that's out there. And I know that there's negativity in sports. And many times, you'll hear it and on this show even. But, sports is the one thing I think that unites people. And at no better time than it now unite a people and a country like it did in 1980 when our country was going downhill. And it gave a light that really, I think, lit the decade. 80s was a pretty good decade. Don't let those revisionists tell you otherwise. Let's get up to our thumbs up and thumbs down for the week. EJ, I will start. Thumbs up. We mentioned him a bit. We talked about him a lot. The Zamboni driver, 42 years old, David Ayers, who was sitting, watching the game with his wife. He's the practice goaltender for the Toronto Marlies. Nobody expects the emergency goaltender to ever get in. No, never do two goaltenders get hurt. Well, they did. And he went in, gave up a couple goals in the second period, but that Carolina team rallied, winning 6-3, getting him the victory. What a story. He was paid $500 for the game, but he was allowed to keep his game-worn jersey. I know they're going to be giving him some accolades in Carolina tomorrow. The locker room, Coach Rob Brindamore thought it was a really nice job by him, and just a great story, one you would never expect, in my opinion, the story of the weekend, and I won't even give a thumbs down for that because that deserves a thumbs up. EJ, got about 2 minutes left. Your thumbs up and thumbs down for the week, sir.
I'm going to piggyback off your thumbs up. Absolutely, David Ayers gets the thumbs up for the weekend. And to play off of everything that you just said, I just read a caption that he's going to be with the team for the next game.
Good for him.
He is going to be one of the goaltenders available in the next game from what I'm reading. So it's excellent for him. Thumbs up to him for the week in sports. Thumbs down for the week. Ooh, is this a tough one? I'm not sure what I don't like about this last week in sports. If I had to give a thumbs down, I'll give a thumbs down to the Ryan Newman crash that had everybody on the edge of their seats in the Daytona 500. A very, very tough moment. However, thumbs up to NASCAR. There was a paramedic there within 35 seconds. Ryan Newman was treated and then released, walking out of the hospital with his family a couple of days later. So thumbs down for an absolutely horrific crash that turned into a thumbs up positive moment for the sport of NASCAR. So that's where I'm at this week, Scotty.
EJ Russell joining us on the game. EJ, thanks for joining us as always. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next Monday night for our next edition of the game, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And want to thank each and every one of you for listening tonight. Don't forget, you can catch the full 2-hour broadcast of the game, the podcast, if you will, on the website, thegamesportshow.com, and later on tonight on the website, thegamesportshow.podbean.com. Don't forget Sioux Eagles hockey on ESPN 1400 this weekend. The Eagles will take on Elliott Lake Friday night and the Sioux Thunderbirds Saturday night. Tomorrow night, we'll have Laker hockey show with Bill Crawford at 6. And we'll continue to cover the world of local, regional, and national sports right here on the game. Want to thank all our guests, head coach Doug Laprade from the Sioux Eagles, head coach Steve Habusta from the Sioux High swimming team, Butch Davis, and EJ Russell. My name is Scott Nason, and you have been listening to the Twin Sioux's only local, regional, and national sports show. You have been listening to The Game on ESPN 1400.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Game here on ESPN 1400 WKNW, Sault Ste. Marie's sports leader. Check us out next Monday at 6 for the Twin Sioux's only local, regional, and national sports show. You can hear the podcast of the show and other broadcasts at thegamesportshow.com.